Hey everyone, Adam here. Welcome back to another video. In this one, I want to talk about the top 3 takeaways from making over $1 million last month with just Meta ads. So without further ado, let's get straight into it, shall we? So you can see here on this screenshot right below here, basically for last month in just May, for the 23 brands that we work with, generate over $1 million last month with a 4.61x return on ad spend and an average cost per acquisition of $27.78. An average CPM of $9.78, in case you're wondering as well too. And this is just on Meta. Obviously, we do run Pinterest, Snapchat, TikTok, and also Google as well. So lots of revenue driven on numerous platforms. Meta is just the number one in terms of spend and also revenue. So that's what we're going to touch on this one and focus on this for this video. But first things first, we're actually hiring a senior e-commerce strategist, and basically, for this role here, you'd basically be the main point of contact and really just kind of taking over the client check-in calls for the 24 brands that we're currently working with and consistently creating the strategy for the clients and also really communicating it to the clients and also our team and working with our copywriter, media buyers, all that good stuff. And also creating the static and video ad briefs for ad campaigns to really profitably grow revenue. So if that's something that interests you, go ahead and send me an email, send me your resume and also top 3 reasons why I should pick you. So looking forward to hearing from you guys. And yeah, just drop me an email. I'll leave all the info in the description below. But yeah, let's get into the video. So in terms of top 3 takeaways, UGC content is performing best. It's interesting how it's been working for years and years now. UGC content really blew up, I'd say, in about 2021-ish or so. But really, it's just still the number one performer. It's spending the most. It's generating the most revenue. It's generating the most profit. UGC content needs to be part of your ad strategy. Now, if you saw my last video there, I went into in depth on all these different video UGC video ad frameworks. There's so many different ones. You got the problem solution framework, demo framework, comparing your brand to others, the positioning framework, story framework. People love stories. Educational framework. I actually added this one in here, authority framework, recently, where basically anyone who's kind of like a doctor or any sort of authority figure, basically shooting the content instead of just a regular creator, also does really, really well too. And we're seeing that actually work in an account that we're working with. Before and after framework, offer framework. So many different ones. And then once you find, frameworks that are working, there's so many ways to make different versions of it and get different creators that are different ages, creators that are different genders, different ethnicities. A lot of people sleep on that, different time frame with the videos. Also switching up the location as well too. So there's so many different things you can do. If you're interested, go ahead and check out that last video there. Goes in everything in a lot of detail and definitely needs to be a part of your strategy because UGC content is, it's one of those things that I think will always be around. It'll just have different ways of going about it. You know what I mean? It's just, you got to kind of adapt over time, but it's working best. It's our top performer. Number 2 is the majority of the media buying spend is, as you guys know, in terms of the media buying and what I've talked about, just getting more and more automated. So it's really going towards a broad CBO. We do have a couple of campaigns here and there for other things, but majority of the spend, the revenue, the profitability, all that is going towards a broad CBO, and launching out a new ad set on a weekly basis is really just performing best for us. That's what we're seeing is generating the most profit, the most new customer acquisition, and it's just most scalable, most profitable. It's the best way to do business. So if you want more info on that, I have some other videos on the channel for that. And also organic style ads and also statics have been performing the best as well. Organic style meaning, IG Reels, TikToks that are just kind of having a bit of an organic feel. We find that they generate, they generate basically traffic for a very, very affordable price. And it's very good to have you in your, you kind of, if you think about a product suite, you almost want to have an ad suite where you have different types of ads, and those are working really well. And also statics have been performing really, really well. So here's a couple high performing statics that are just crushing it, to say the least here. This one here is kind of an interesting one. It's almost like a little bit of status, if you will. My husband went, every morning your face looks more radiant. How? So it's kind of like, you can say my husband, my friend, coworker, my boss, like anything. You can get creative with it. and basically have some nice photos for this here. We just want to make their face look radiant here. You could also have a photo on the left and then have an arrow that points to the product. That's another version of this that we made that's also doing just almost equally as well. This one's performing a little bit better. So that's another thing to test out. This one here is kind of like an animation type static that includes the product. So you can see here, has a headline on the top, improve your sleep quality with just a pillow. And you can see here the correct sleep position in an animation and then the incorrect one as well. And then basically at the bottom, learn why everyone's switching to the Envy pillow. So that one's working really well. So kind of like an animation style static is something you probably want to test out. And also memes. Don't be afraid to have a little bit of fun. This one here is Kim K, which is a pretty funny meme. When you ignore your neck pain and now you lie in bed contemplating why you didn't get the Envy pillow. So what's interesting with this, obviously we combine our research with this. What we're finding is one of the best performing angles and approaches for them is really the neck pain. Now it's interesting because when I first came across and we started working with them last year, I was initially thinking like, reducing fine lines and wrinkles, the anti-aging, that angle and approach and that problem is going to be the main one that's going to drive most of the revenue. But what I've found is really people want a better sleep. They want to reduce their neck pain and back pain, which makes more sense. It's a little bit more of an urgent thing because if you really think about it, I don't know if you've ever had, obviously you probably have before, neck pain or back pain. It's honestly like it's such an urgent thing. You just want it solved like as soon as possible. It's just such a pain in the ass. You're willing to do anything to fix it. It's just such a, whereas like, getting wrinkles and all that kind of stuff, it happens gradually over time. It's not as like an urgent thing that you want solved. You know what I mean? Like it's not, you know what I mean? It's just not as urgent. Whereas neck pain is such a pain in the ass. Which hence why it's a pain, I guess, pain point. So that's one of those things where it's one of the main performing angles that's working really, really well. Now, last thing I want to focus on, or last thing I want to touch on in this video is really the focus, what we're focusing on right here, right now, halfway through 2024 in terms of getting the brands to $2 million plus per month and beyond. I want to do even much, much bigger numbers as well too. So number one is really focusing on massively increasing the amount of UGC content plus the amount of statics that we produce for brands that we work with. It's almost one of those things as an e-commerce brand, you almost have to become a media company in a way, and you have to produce so much content. And we're finding that over the brands that we work with that are generating way more revenue, really their systems with content and overall, it's just they just have so much more content. So we're launching way more ads. And that's really one of the main factors. It's literally that simple. It's just, of course, has to be quality. And has to be well researched, of course, but you need the quantity as well to come with it. Because if you basically produce 10 times the amount of ads, the results are quite literally, 10x essentially. So it's one of those things. And if you take a look at the brands that are doing 9 figures plus, you take a look at some of their ad libraries, they literally have thousands, if not thousands. I'm talking thousands, not 20. We're talking thousands of ads that are live in their ad account. And there's just, it makes sense why they're doing so much revenue. It's literally, it's that simple. Sometimes it's not even 10 times the amount of ads. It's literally 100 times the amount of ads that they're producing and creating than you are. So it's one of those things. So got to learn from some of those bigger brands there. And that's really what I'm seeing. And the main thing that we're going to be focusing on. Secondly as well too, we do help down on the website, but I want to dive a little bit more in the nitty gritty in terms of CRO, especially on the product pages specifically, especially the collection and product pages, because that's really where we're sending all the traffic. Make sure it's airtight, looks really, really good. And then also getting back to a few years ago, we were diving into landing pages, doing a lot more of those. We want to get back to doing and really dive deep into building and split testing different landers as well too. That's another piece of the puzzle that we want to look into. Because if you look at a brand like Envy, does require a bit of educating, and there's some other brands that we work with that require so much education where it's such a new product that people just don't know much about. So we do need to build out custom landing pages, blog type ones, listicle, shoppable ones, and really dive into split testing these landing pages, because that's just going to massively increase the profitability as we scale up. Because we need to keep the profitability and make sure we're hitting those KPIs properly. So that's going to be a big one as well too that we're focusing on. And lastly, another thing that we're going to be focusing on as well that we're just seeing is that we're doing such a good job on the front end. We're getting so many new customers in the door, but then basically what's happening with a lot of brands is that their returning customer rate is just dropping and dropping, and then they don't have the systems in the back end to really help nurture those customers and, build a relationship with them, and essentially cross-sell, upsell other products as well too in the back end. So really main focus is really helping increase the returning customer rate, basically with retention, email and SMS to really drive more profit and be able to scale more. So that's another thing we're going to be looking into as well too here in the very, very, very near future. We're talking probably this quarter or next quarter or so. So those are kind of the main three things that we're going to be focusing on: massively increasing the amount of content, basically focusing on the CRO and really building and split testing different landers, and then really helping increase the returning customer rate to really bump up that profitability, baby. So yeah. If you have any questions, let me know. But thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I hope that video was valuable. Hopefully you took at least a little takeaway or two in there. And if you're interested in this job role here, go ahead, drop me an email. I'll leave the info in the description. But yeah, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. We'll see you in the next one. Cheers for watching.